So you want to build a website, have your name across the web. We can do anything from digital marketing to logos to branding and startup success. That's the end. Sorry about that, guys. So Frozen, horribly sung parodies aside, we can help you. We're a digital marketing company who has the ability to create fantastical websites from scratch. In this video, I'm gonna go over the benefits of hiring a professional company just like ours. We're gonna look at the considerations that you wanna take into account, and then also the pros and the cons of building a website. So after this fantastical intro video, we'll get started and we'll jump right into it. See you in a second. Go away, Anna. Okay, bye. Hey everyone, I'm back. Anna? Yeah, Elsa? Yeah. Anna, you wanna play? You wanna build a snowman? Go away, Anna. Wait, Elsa? I have no idea what these names are. There's so many of them. Thank you, Disney. This video is not sponsored by Disney, just you. So, what we're talking about right now, and I hope you like that intro, and that beautiful singing, and if you liked it, leave a comment below. Before we get started into the content, the meat and bones, and the blood, what we're talking about, I want to talk a little bit about our company. A little shameless plug, if you will. We're 702 Pros, LLC, a company located and operated in Las Vegas, Nevada. You know where the Raiders are coming? The best team, possibly, coming in the future. They're going to do really well. Okay, so what we do at 702 Pros, we're located right in the heart of Las Vegas. I'm looking at the strip. Well, if I look that way, I'm looking at the strip. But what we do is digital marketing, branding, like you heard in the song. We do also websites, and that's part of the development process. And then we help companies from startup phase to successful operating companies, and also larger companies that want to redevelop their brand and they want to kickstart this 2020. It's the whole industry, the whole business world is going to be changing. And I want to do some videos on future too, so we can talk about that. If you're interested in digital marketing ideas, if you're interested in starting a company or website development tips and tricks and all that type of stuff, consider subscribing. I think there's a little button on one of these sides, so click that subscribe button. It's nice, big, and red. Thank you, YouTube. And then next to it's a little bell. Bing, need more cowbell. So click that bell, and then also there's some annotations. I think that's what they're called, but the little dots up above on one of these sides that will show you some other videos around kind of what we're talking about: branding, digital marketing, also ClickBank and affiliate stuff. So we go into a lot of the different realms in digital. In digital, if you've been in business for a while, if you've been on the internet, you know the effects of digital marketing and how powerful it can be for your business, or just even for personal use. So connection is what we're talking about. All right, so now that you know about me and how this video is going to help you, let's talk about what you're all here for. You want to know if you should hire a professional web development company to help you with your website. And we're going to go over some considerations, pros and cons of doing that. So let's jump right in. All right, so the first consideration that you want to consider when hiring a professional web development company is your budget. You have the budget to hire a professional company, and the cost is going to be subject on the company. I would say on average, if we look it up, on average, a development company to build a basic website for like a medium-sized company, you're looking at about 3,000 range, 3 to 10,000, and that depends on your location. Here in Las Vegas, I can't really talk about our companies or other companies or our competition, but it's going to be around that range wherever you go. And then all of our sites are customized. So that price is going to be, there's so many variables. It's what kind of functionality you need, and these are the considerations that we're going to be going over. So I'm not really going to get into that. But so let's talk about, so budget's number one. Do you have the budget to fulfill that? And most companies are going to give you a quote for free. So if you come in or if you talk to them, give them some of the details about what you're trying to do, they'll give you a free quote. So don't hesitate to contact the company that you're thinking about hiring, especially if you're thinking about hiring us. Go ahead and contact us. Right here, there's going to be some contact information. If you're on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, we're going to have the contact information to our company. And yeah, you could set up a phone consultation if you're not in Las Vegas, and even an in-person meeting if you'd like to have the pleasure of my company or someone else in the Office's company. But if you're on Facebook, you can go to our website, 702pros.com. If you're on the website already, you're already here. And just go to the contact page. You can get our information from there. But if you're on Facebook or YouTube, just go to 702pros.com, go to the contact page or getting started page, and you can get all the information that you want. All right, so let's go on to number 2 of considerations that you want to look at. And I'm going to read it right here. So number 2 is going to be functionality. How customized, or actually customization, something else. Functionality is going to be what are people doing on the site? How complex is this? Like complexity, functionality, something similar to that. But some functions of a website could be e-commerce. It could be a customized portfolio if you're doing photography or something. There's so many different functions, and that's something that you want to think of. Look at some reference sites and say, okay, I like this functionality, or I want to do this, or I want something really crazy. So those are some things that are really going to that last consideration budget. That's really going to change that, how much it's going to cost. Functionality is really what determines cost for the website. So consideration number 2. Number 3. Okay, so number 3 is, what do you want your customers to do when they get to your website? And this is a really big consideration, and something that if you're building it on your own, that's something that it takes time in development. I've been developing websites for a long time. And during that time, I've developed kind of a pattern on how people think. I know how people go to websites and what they want to see and kind of what they want to do, and kind of how to guide them through the process. And that's really a really big consideration when hiring someone. Make sure that they have your vision and they know or they give you suggestions on what people should do. So that's what a really good developer should do, give you those insight suggestions on what you should do. Okay, so before I go on to the next step, another thing on what you want them to do, when someone's coming to your site, think of it like this. It's your initial point of sell. Before you even talk to someone, now in today's day and age, they're going to go to your website, see some information, see if you're a good fit for what they need, and then they're going to contact you. So that's your initial sell. They're like, oh, I like this. This is the company I want to go with, before even talking to you. So if you've made that initial sell already, you already have a great foot in the door to building a relationship with the person. So that's another really good consideration on what you want them to do. Our 4th consideration is going to be return on investment. So return on investment, or ROI, you might hear that, ROI, and that's return on investment. But I talk about that a lot on this channel, because if you're starting a business or if you've been operating a business for a long time, that is going to be really important for your business. How fast? So there's 2 parts of it. So return on investment, a formula kind of, if you will. So return on investment plus time on that return. So those are the things. How much money you're going to make on the website, how much more money than not having a website. And I think we can all answer, you should make more on a website, or you should. It should be doing that initial sell. But how much money will you make on it, or projected money will you make on it? And then how fast will you start making the money on it? And that consideration is going to go along with hiring a marketing company. And another shameless plug, we do marketing too, so we can help you develop a marketing strategy. And that's how we really tackle the website process. A lot of people, a website or a logo are their first steps in creating their business. So we get to get in on the ground floor and help them develop their marketing strategy. And that's how you're going to bring people to your website. So if you're doing networking or whatever, you want to have on your card the website that they go to, and then it makes that initial sell, and then you set up a meeting, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to either call you, or they're going to buy something or fill out a form or whatever it may be. So ROI, really big and important. So consideration number 5, I kind of went over a little bit, but what is the purpose of your website? There's 3 purposes, maybe even more, but the 3 main ones that I've dealt with are selling a product, selling a service, or giving information. Those are going to be the 3 things that people, or it could be entertainment, but you're still selling a lifestyle or something. So I would say the main hub of any website is selling something. Any site that you go to. So they all have that type of purpose. If it's a social site, you're selling that community. You want people to join the community and kind of have the vision that you have, if it's kind of a social site. So that's something to consider. You're either selling a service, product, or you're creating a community environment. So consideration number 5 is scalability. So based on the platforms, there's a lot of free builders that you can do, create a website. I don't know how powerful a lot of them are. We've worked with a few. And if you don't have a budget to work with a development company, this is kind of a vertical of what I'm talking about. If you don't have the budget to hire a developer, 3 to 10,000 or whatever it may be, if you don't have that budget, I would consider using a site like Wix, where you could build it yourself, but I would probably consult with a professional to give you some tips. And a lot of development companies, our company, another shameless plug, but our company gives website design consultation. So that's different than the quote. It's where we'll go over tips and tricks on the website and help you kind of develop it on your own. And those prices vary, and it's usually an hourly rate, like a 2-hour minimum. So if you're interested in that, you can contact us at 702pros.com as well. Or any company that we're working with should have something along those lines, or just ask them, like, can you give me some tips or training on that? And they usually will, either over the phone or like we do Google Hangouts, you can do that, where they can show you the screen, or you can do it in person if it's a local company. But another item I want you to think about with scalability, with Wix, if you develop it on there, that you're really limited. You're going to have a cap on what you can do with it, or you have to keep paying them for stuff. So that's if you already have a Wix site, for instance, or you built something on Wix, you want to keep it there for a little bit, but don't get complacent with your Wix site. You want to hire a web development company as soon as possible, because they're going to, if they're building it on Wix, I wouldn't go with that company. I would go with a company that's going to build it on WordPress, or my only real suggestion, or the only thing I can really recommend is WordPress, because I think it's the best platform to build a website on. If they're building it with HTML or like straight HTML customized or whatever, that might be okay, but you're going to have to hire that person to update code, where WordPress updates it for you. And I can do a video on WordPress specifically. I'm not really going into that. But ask your developer if they develop in WordPress, and don't be scared off by WordPress, because it's very, very scalable. You can do a lot with it. It's the most powerful tool out there, in my opinion. Can't read that one. So our consideration number 6 is going to be time for deliverables, time on delivery. So if you need to have the website done and look professional in a certain amount of time, a web developer does that for a living. Like we can get content, we can do this, we can do that, and have this website looking good and ready to go live in a short period of time. If you're going to do it on your own, it's going to take a lot of time. Like, you're going to have to learn something that's out of the scope of what you should be focusing on. if you're a startup, you should be focusing on getting customers and doing this and networking, and like what I'm doing right now, marketing should be something that you learn a little bit about. Not necessarily the website, because that's going to take hours and hours. It could take you a lot of time to build something good. So it's either you're going to dedicate all those hours, or you're going to pay someone that already knows it and is a professional at what they do and they're great at what they do to do it. So number 7, the consideration number 7 is going to be updating. So one important thing, or support, ease of updating, support, that's something you want to look at. Whatever platform you build it on, you build your website on, is going to have support. You're going to have to update code. Not to get into the technical too much behind websites, but the whole internet is built on a set of codes, and these things are updated so often. So if the internet coding is up here and you built your website before by yourself and hasn't been updated, it takes a lot of technical skills to keep updating. Or the developer that developed it knew how it was built, and they would be able to update it for you to keep you on track. Because if you're down here, it's like not changing the oil on your car. If you don't do that, it's going to break down, and you're going to get viruses, and all types of stuff can happen. So updating your site is very, very important, and keeping the content relevant and updated. So that's another thing that a web developer that you contracted from the beginning is going to know. And then another consideration that I want to take into account, let's say this is 8. I didn't even write it down on here on the list, but I had this idea. Make sure it's a reputable company that's developing your website. You might pay a medium-sized company more money, but this company's been around say they've been around for 5 years. Check that out. How long have they been around? Because web development, I hate to say, is a very, very flighty industry. Anyone with a laptop can say they're a web developer. Oh, I'm going to develop your website. And then I don't know how many times I've heard this. Oh, this guy developed my website and then he fell off the face of the earth. I've heard that so many times I can't even count. And I say, yeah, well, I don't know what to say. Our company is set here and we are not going anywhere. And I like to just reassure people of that have went through that process. So make sure that company is not going anywhere, and that if you're going to contract a freelance person, just know that they could just go missing. So that's why I recommend going with a bigger company if you have the budget for it, because it's worth it. Saving a little bit of money right in the beginning isn't always the best option. You want to go with a reputable because of that support you're going to get. So something to consider. And now I think we're on 9. So 9 is search engine optimization. So in addition to websites, search engine optimization, or SEO, but that's an acronym for it, that is a really important part of being found on the internet. And that's going to be, it's going to be like the cornerstone for any marketing. You want people to go to Google so search engine optimization is in layman terms is getting found on Google or other search engines like Bing or Yahoo. This video is not specifically about that, but I just want you to consider, how is my website going to be found on Google? And I don't want to give you any misconceptions on that. That's a recurring thing that an SEO company would be able to do. And something to consider is the web development company you're using, do they do search engine optimization? So it's good to find a kind of one-stop shop, and that's us. We do that too, SEO. That I'm really good with SEO. That's kind of was my passion in the beginning, was manipulating and finding ways to be found for different terms. So that was very, very interesting to me. So with our company, I kind of bullhead those projects, SEO projects, and we get a lot of customers coming in for that. But that's another consideration when hiring a company. Do they do websites? Do they do another consideration? Let's say this is 10, and these aren't even on the list, I'm just kind of going through, is branding. So branding is another part of the development of this website. If you don't already have a logo, that's something you really want to get. And I have a video on how to create, kind of the psychology behind logos and how you should choose a logo or how you should design a logo. But make sure your web design company can do logos, they can do cards, they can do SEO, they can do marketing, because you want to build a relationship with this company and make sure they're good at all those things. Some might not be great, so you have to really look at that. But you want to build a relationship with this company instead of having a relationship with them and them and them. You want to be able to count on one company that can do a lot of different things for you, and you don't have to stop in with or build relationships with different people. If you have that one relationship with somebody that's accountable and is there to answer questions for you, that's always great to have. And then let's say 11, there's more, but this is 11, is going to be responsiveness or compatibility with mobile devices. Make sure that when you're getting your development and you're asking questions, ask, is this site going to be mobile? Is it going to be friendly on a tablet? It's going to be friendly on an iPhone, an Android, all that. Most companies should be designing mobile. They used to call it mobile first. I think now it's still desktop, but you want to make it responsive for different devices, and we always do that. And then another consideration, I kind of lost count here, but another consideration is, can the website company host your website, and are they going to give you an SSL? And that's the little lock that you might see at the top of a website. And then can they help you find a domain or something like that? Can they register your domain? Because if you can do all that stuff with your development company, that takes a lot of problems off your plate, a lot of different things that you might have to think about. Ask if they can do that for you. They can do, because that's the three components of a website. There's the development, but then there's domain, which is mybusiness.com. There's hosting, and that's what stores your website and brings it onto the internet. And then SSL is a secured link for your website. And all the search engines are requiring that. We're actually transferring all of our old sites because we've been working on sites for a long time. We're transferring them all to SSL because it's so important nowadays. Okay, so now that we have the considerations out of the way, let's talk about the pros. I know it's kind of going into that into considerations, but in this section, we're going to focus directly on the pros of hiring a professional web development company. So pro number one is going to be a professionally designed website. That's by all means, or that's by far why you want to go with a professional, because you are great at what you're doing, or you're passionate about something, not necessarily web development. We are passionate about web development and creating the best possible websites for your business. And we're darn good at what we do. And most development companies that are reputable in their area, if you don't want to go with, say you live somewhere else and you don't want to go with our company because it's not near you and you want to be able to meet face to face, make sure they're a reputable company. And if you want to leave a comment below to like a company that you're considering, I can just look up their website and do a few things. Maybe one of the guys on our staff can do that and help you out. Just kind of, I like to do that, and I like to look at people's sites and kind of give my feedback. So if you want to leave a comment to another company that you kind of like or you're looking at, we can say, okay, they look good or they don't. And you should be able to see some of that from their website. So another consideration when hiring someone, do you like their site? Even if it's not your specific style, is it conveying the message correctly? Does it look customized, or does it look like something that was like a cookie cutter site that they didn't take a lot of time? Do they have a lot of pages? Do they have a lot of content? Going back to considerations. But okay, so well designed, that's a big pro. Number two is going to be testing and debugging. So when you develop a website, there can be a lot of problems on the site. A developer is going to be able to find those problems and fix them a lot faster than you. I've had a lot of people that come to me and they say, hey, I built a website, now I have this problem. Well, I don't know how it was built. it's kind of hard for someone to come in after and do it. We like to help when we can, and we've done that for. All right, so pro number 3 of hiring a professional web development company, and this is kind of a vertical of the testing and debugging, but it's on-hand support. If you had a company that did your website, you can hire them for monthly support, and they can answer calls, they can go over analytics on the site. That's kind of marketing, but it's still kind of website development. And that's another consideration. Ask the company if they'll do analytics. And analytics is when they look at how many people are going to the site, how often they're going. And that's like when you do that SEO and marketing, ask those kind of questions. Do you do analytics? And if they say yes, make sure that it looks like they kind of know what they're talking about and that they're going to be able to do it and that they charge for that. So if they're not charging for it, that means they're not really going to do it. So make sure that if someone says they're going to do analytics for you, make sure that they're set up a plan. Like we're going to do analytics and we're going to set up a call. So that's something you want to consideration and going back and forth, because these are all, the pros and considerations are still, they're verticals of each other. So you're going to look at all that when you're considering the pros. And then, so with the pros, it's basically that. Those are the main pros. And now that we know the considerations, the pros, and now let's look at the cons. So con number 1 is going to be price, definitely, because to build it yourself, it's going to be free. It could be free. To build it with a company, you're going to pay for it. But you're hiring a professional company, and this is your business. You want to make it look as great as it can. And when people go to your website, they want to see a professional website, not a website that was built by your cousin that worked on a website one time, or yourself that's never built a website. So that's something you need to look professional, look the part that you want to display, professionalism. So another con of just having a website, not just hiring someone, I had this on the list, but it's recurring fees. There's not a lot of cons to hiring a professional company. I would say that's the best option when developing. The only con would be the price. And then a con could be if you don't choose the right company, they could just leave. They're kind of flighty, some companies. So choose a reputable one that has a website. If you meet someone at a Starbucks, probably, that's how I started, but that might not be the best choice. And then make sure that you like your developer. That's another thing. This list was supposed to be pros and cons. It's all kind of considerations that you should look at. But never mind, it's just considerations, not pros and cons. Whatever. But make sure that you like, go back to our considerations. Sorry, pros and cons. Make sure that you like your developer when you're talking to them. Make sure that they're friendly and nice. Because I've heard that, I heard this from a bunch of customers that, I hated my developer. We didn't get along at all. And that just, it makes the whole process hard because you are entrusting a lot to that company or that person. That's why it's good to go with a medium-sized company, in my opinion, because there's more levels. When it's one person freelancing, I remember when I was doing it, and that's how I started. I am in office. I was doing Starbucks runs and meeting people. They have a lot on their plate, and they're not going to be able to dedicate the time. So you might be getting a cheaper price, but you're actually going to be getting worse. The service isn't going to be as good. And if they're freelance, that means that they're doing it on the side, or they're just getting started, so they're not going to be as good at the debugging and testing and all that. So that's really something to consider. This guy's charging me $1,000, they're charging me $3,000. Well, these guys are going to be able to tackle any problem. The guy charging $1,000 or the gal charging $1,000 isn't going to be able to help me with a problem if it comes up, or they're not going to be able to scale. So then I'm going to have to go to one of these bigger companies to help me. So it's good to go with you don't have to go with the top largest company because they might charge an arm and a leg, but maybe a medium-sized company to start that at least has an office, and it's maybe not just one guy or one gal, but it's a team, like a receptionist, and they have a couple designers or something like that. And that just shows that they're going to be able to dedicate the time to you, that it's going to be professional, and that you're going to get a good finished product, even if you pay a little bit more for that product. It's like going to Payless versus a Nike. Payless shoes going to be cheaper, but your feet are going to be hurting. And this is even more important in the business world. You might get a cheaper website. It might look okay, but what if it goes down? The person's not going to help you out. They're not going to. Maybe they won't even be able to, or they just go missing. So I think I'm kind of rambling here about why you should go with a medium-sized company. 702 Pros. Buy now. But those are some of the considerations if I was starting a company today that I would do if I was going to hire a company, a professional web development company. Okay, so now that you have those considerations, go out and get a website. If you want help with the website, you can go to 702pros.com, go to our contact page, and fill out a form to get in contact with us. We can help you with the website. If you want to join my subscription, or if you want to subscribe to the videos, you can click the button down below, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can see all the videos as they're coming out. That's what it means. You'll get a notification at the top, like near your inbox. There's a bell at the top of YouTube. So if you click on that, you're going to see all the people that you are getting notifications from. And I would be one of those. So if I come out with a new video, you'd see it on there in your feed. And then if you have any questions, you can leave a comment below, or you can email me at 702pros@gmail.com. Also, like I was saying, if you're thinking about hiring a company or even a freelancer, leave a comment below or leave their link below, and I'll check it out and I'll say, okay, that looks good, or this one, probably not. And I can usually point them out pretty quick if they use like a builder to build their website, because a professional web development company should have something pretty custom. Like, it shouldn't look like a lot of sites. And if you see a lot of different development companies with the same looking sites, that means they probably got a builder to do it. So that means that they weren't as creative as they should be. So they should have their site, and that's hard, even for us. Like I let some stuff go on my side, and then I have to come back to it because I'm focusing on other projects. So that's something to consider. But my site is customized. If you go to it, it doesn't look like a lot of other sites unless someone's copied off of me. Looks like I've taken the time on my site to make it different and make it cool. And even if it's not your style that you specifically like, kind of say, okay, did they take the time on this, or are their descriptions look good? Something like that. And that's what I would help you with if you left a comment. In addition to subscribing to YouTube and liking this video if you like it, the little thumbs up. In addition to that, you can go to 702pros.com, our website, and then go to the YouTube tab. It's at the top. If you click there, you can subscribe to our newsletter. If you scroll down, there's a blue area that says subscribe, and I'll put a link to that below in the description of this video. But it says subscribe, and then that's actually the emails that I send out to clients, and also I send it to subscribers on YouTube or anyone that's watched this video that wants to go to that page. And those are just digital marketing tips and strategies, some snippets of these YouTube videos, maybe just some highlights or something, and then also just to stay in contact and give you more information to build your company. So again, my name is Justin with 702pros.com. I hope that you like this video, and I will see you next time.